Hello YouTube, this is Dakota from Bowtied Media, and Grammy season is officially here, so let's talk about it. Yes, indeed, the Grammy nominations are here for the 2025 Grammys, and we're here to give some predictions and sort of do a regular annual video and just kind of talk about what I think will win in the major categories, primarily the pop and dance categories, because that is what I'm most familiar with. I don't really know anything from rock or jazz, or I know a bit of rap, but we're going to stay in my own lane here and make sure we're talking about stuff that I particularly have, I would say, a well-informed opinion on. So let's hop into it. Let's start off with Record of the Year. And Record of the Year is kind of a weird one because this one is different than song. Record just means, in this case, just a singular song. But this is like holistic record. This is songwriting and production and mixing and mastering and all that kind of stuff. Well, Song of the Year is primarily just kind of songwriting and performance. So this is the holistic whole team around a track is Record of the Year. The nominations are Now and Then by the Beatles, Texas Hold'em by Beyonce, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, 360 by Charlie XCX, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar, Good Night Babe by Chappell Roan, and Fortnite by Taylor Swift. Obviously, as they always are, this is a pretty poppy list when it comes to Record of the Year. There's some oddballs in here, I will say, particularly the Now and Then by the Beatles, which I know is this kind of weird posthumous, like kind of later song. I don't really get why that one's here. I get it's the Beatles, but I don't think they really need to be here. And otherwise, I wouldn't say call myself a Taylor Swift hater, but this last era of Taylor Swift has not been great. And so if Fortnite wins, I will be very, very disappointed. But other than that, all these songs are pretty rockin'. Texas Hold'em, Espresso, 360, Birds of a Feather, Not Like Us, Good Night Babe. Like, they all could do some damage here and could potentially take it away. But I don't think it's going to be 360 Charlie XCX, and I don't think it's going to be Good Night Babe Chappell Roan. I also don't think it's going to be Kendrick Lamar. If I had to give a real guess, I think it might actually be Birds of a Feather or Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. If I were to give a full official real guess, I think it's got to be Espresso. I'm going to say Espresso's going to take this one. The song has really just taken over the radio waves. Sabrina Carpenter also nominated for Breakthrough or New Artist of the Year. And so in that sense, typically it doesn't go to new artists. It typically goes to older artists. And I think, honestly, Beyonce could also take this one as well, just because Beyonce ran away with kind of last award season, which we didn't really expect to be all that. But I think Beyonce's got a real shot, but I do think it's going to be Espresso, Sabrina Carpenter. Then moving into Album of the Year, we've got New Blue Sun by Andre 3000, Cowboy Carter by Beyonce, Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter, Brat, Charlie XCX, Jessie Volume 4 by Jacob Collier, Hit Me Hard and Soft, Billie Eilish, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess by Chappell Roan, and The Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift. Just to kind of go through the list here, I think New Blue Sun is a little too out there for the nominees here. I think it's a little bit too out of left field and not so mainstream, and so I don't think Andre 3000 will take this way. I think Cowboy Carter could take this just as easily as she has in the past. I think it's a great country album, and I hate country, and I do actually really enjoy this one. Short and Sweet, I think is good, but I think Espresso has a higher chance of winning for record or song rather than the whole album holistically winning Album of the Year. Brat by Charlie XCX, I think is fantastic. I don't think it's going to win, though. I don't think Jacob Collier's got it with Jessie Volume 4 either. I do think, I will say, and I give my prediction here, I do think it's going to be Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. I think that record was fantastic. I think it's her most mature work of art. I think it's the most kind of pop radio, kind of commercial friendly. That's worked in her favor more so than kind of other records of hers. And so, I think Hit Me Hard and Soft would take this one by Billie Eilish. And I think we're going to see Billie kind of dominate in ways that we have seen in the past. Didn't do so much with her last record, but I think Billie takes this. Chappell Roan, I think, would be a good one to take this as well, too. And I sure hope it's not the Tortured Poets Department. Please, no, it can't be. And then Song of the Year, again, just remember this is pretty much songwriting and performance, is a bar song Tipsy by Shaboozey, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, Die With a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Fortnite, Taylor Swift and technically Post Malone, Good Luck Babe, Chappell Roan, Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar, Please, 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 Sabrina Carpenter, and Texas Hold'em by Beyonce. Personally, on this one, I really do think, and I wish it will be Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. Again, I think she's going to sweep here. I can see Not Like Us taking it from Kendrick Lamar too, but I think because it's so kind of almost like politically charged, I don't think it'll take it, especially for the voters here. And I do think, though, in the end, I don't think it's going to be Birds of a Feather. I think it's actually going to be Die With a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. It's kind of the perfect Grammy song that was by two big artists, a big collaboration, a song that sounded fantastic, and one that didn't do so well radio numbers, I will say. It was like obviously a big success, but it wasn't like the smash #1 hit that I think we would have expected from a Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga. This is kind of like perfect Grammy bait. So I think Die With a Smile is going to be my final prediction for Song of the Year. And I'll quickly talk about Best New Artist here, only because I think of the list here, it's going to be a runaway kind of Sabrina Carpenter or Chappell Rowan. I don't think anyone's even close here. And my guess is it will be Sabrina Carpenter, just because she's the very safe pick, I would say, here for Best New Artist. But as this channel is primarily EDM, electronic dance music focused, let's talk about the pop and dance electronic nominees. Before we get any further, I do want to say I'm really happy that they've kind of separated the kind of pop dance, commercial dance to the more electronic dance style stuff. I think it's great. I think it does a good job of separating the two kind of more mainstream stuff from the stuff that's a little bit more explicitly EDM. But for Best Dance Pop Recording, we've got Make You Mine by Madison Beer, Von Dutch, Charlie XCX, L'amour de ma vie by Billie Eilish, Yes and Ariana Grande, and Got Me Started by Troye Sivan. Honestly, this is a pretty good and well-rounded list here, but I do think this one has to go to Charlie XCX. I would assume her to sort of take over this kind of pop, dance pop category, and my guess is she will absolutely run through these specific, more niche categories. I don't think she's going to win many of the major ones, the kind of big main ones there, but I do think she'll win these more dance-focused ones for sure. And on the other side of it, we've got the Best Dance Electronic Recording. We've got She's Gone, Dance On by Disclosure, Loved by Fortet, Leave Me Alone by Fred Again and Baby Keem, Never Ender, Justice and Tame Impala, and Witchy by Kaytranada and Childish Gambino. Honestly, this might be the best list that the Grammys have had in a long time for Best Dance Electronic Recording, just because all these artists here are that's kind of level, where Disclosure is pretty big, and Kaytranada is pretty big, and Fortet's pretty big, and Fred Again are pretty big, and Justice and Tame Impala are pretty big, and it's obviously you're never going to get the really niche artists. You're not going to get like a Porter Robinson. You will get a Skrillex here and there, but you won't kind of get those smaller artists. You're going to get the bigger ones, and I do think this is a pretty good list because She's Gone, Dance On by Disclosure is fantastic. Loved by Fortet's pretty good too. Leave Me Alone is probably that best song I think that Fred Again has put out in this whole kind of era of his. Never Ender by Justice and Tame Impala is the best song off that album, I think, and Witchy is also my favorite song off of that album as well. And so I think this is a pretty good list. I do think, though, that this one is going to go to Never Ender by Justice and Tame Impala for the same reasons I think it's going to go to Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, because it's this like really popular song, but one that didn't do like, it wasn't like the greatest, biggest hits of the year. One that is fantastic and has great mixing, great quality, and really catchy and an earworm for sure, but one that didn't dominate streaming numbers. And so I think that's a kind of perfect, again, Grammy bait here. So Never Ender, and probably of the list here, probably my favorite song as well, I would have to say, of the list. And so I'm going to go Never Ender. Then we got Best Dance Electronic Album. This is the big one for you most likely watching this video. We've got Brat, Charlie XCX, 3 by Fortet, Hyperdrama by Justice, Timeless by Kaytranada, and Zed's Talos. I must say, again, this is a pretty great list. I think these are fantastic albums, and honestly, I don't know if there's much that I would swap out here, if anything. I think this is probably a good, full encompassing, like fully just kind of represents the dance electronic album kind of category for this year. I think you've got a ton of great options here, and I do think it's going to go to Brat, Charlie XCX. I think she's going to absolutely run through these categories. Again, all these albums I think are great. I'm happy that Zed got a nod here with Talos, but in the end, I think it's got to go to Brat. It was a Brat summer, and I think it's turning into a Brat year. But those have been some of my predictions for the Grammys that are coming up in 2025. Let me know what you guys think of those predictions, what your own predictions are as well of the nominations that have just gone out. But I'd love to hear any and all thoughts there in the comment section below. But do you agree, disagree, not? I'd love to hear them all. But other than that, I'm Dakota from Bowtied Media, and I'll see you guys in another video.